Good evening, everybody. This is your mentor, Shivani Sharma from mentorbuddy.com. I hope I'm audible. Can everybody hear me? Good evening, Tushar. I'm good. How are you? Good evening, Damini. Good evening, Riddhi, Vaishnavi, Shabaz, Anushka, Arshdeep, Saurabh. Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Lavesh, Jan. Good evening, Deepak. Thank you so much for responding, everybody. Good evening, Akhil. Good evening, Samarth. Good evening, Aman. Right. So, students, today we are going to have another very interesting session. And you know what? Today we are going to talk about email etiquette. This is something which is highly important and highly required from all the professionals. And this is something which is going to be really very useful for you for student life as well. Right. So you don't have to really take up a job in order to write a professional email. Rather, this is something which you are able to utilize these skills right from day one, isn't it? Good evening, Aman, Nishant, and Nikhil. So let us quickly start the session. Let me just share the presentation with you. All right. Is the presentation visible, students? Can you all see the presentation? Right. So before I could really start, I just want to check from all of you. When I say email etiquette, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Do you think that really writing an effective email involves etiquette as well? You think etiquette plays a important role? Okay, right. So I got so many yes. All right. Yes, very good, Damini. The email etiquettes mean certain rules which we all should follow when we are composing an email, right? So today in the class, I'm going to help you all in understanding that what are the key points that you should keep in mind whenever you are writing an email, right? Of course, a professional email. And secondly, I will also help you in understanding the different, nomenclature that is assigned to any mail. Right. You must have seen whenever we write an email, there are different parts, like there is CC, then there is BCC. So, what is the exact relevance of these things? I'll be discussing that with you, right? So, after the session, you are going to be completely email savvy kind of a person who has in-depth information about it. And I'm also going to give you an assignment at the end of the class today. All right, let's start. So as we always do, so today is 10th session for this series of my webinars on soft skills. In all, we have 22 sessions that are scheduled, so today being the 10th session, right? Again, what do you expect? So I'm not spending much time on this because I have a lot of content to share with you. So we'll also understand what are the different types of emails. Now this is something which very few of us are aware of, that there are different types of emails as well. And we will also be discussing about do's and don'ts of email writing. Clear? The ground rules remain the same. You are going to listen attentively, you will participate with me actively, you can share your experience, you can ask questions also, respect each other, keep a notebook and pen ready and write down your queries. So all of you can note down your queries, and I'll be giving some time, as in, let's say about 4 to 5 minutes towards the end of the session, wherein you can raise your queries. All right. So first, let me just talk about, as I said, it is important for you to understand what is email etiquette, right? So email etiquette basically means those etiquettes or those do's and don'ts that govern communication on the internet, right? As simple as that. And email etiquette involves rules that whenever you are communicating online, how can you do that respectfully and appropriately, right? So we are going to talk about all these things as in terms of email etiquette. Now, the question arises, why does it matter so much, right? When we are talking so much about email etiquette, and why ma'am has included a particular session on email etiquette in soft skills module. Because good mail communication skills are part of succeeding. Whether you are, interacting with your, let's say, faculty members, or when you will be joining a job, you are interacting with your colleagues, with your seniors, with your juniors, right, with your vendors, customers, anybody, you will be communicating with them through, obviously, through emails, right? So this email acts as a reflection of your personality. So somebody, even without meeting you, will get an idea about the personality that you have. So you can make an impressive, or you can, impressive persona or a good personal impression simply by writing an effective email and by following all the email etiquette that we are going to talk about today. Right, students? It will also make it more likely that you will get the response you want. In the very initial sessions only, when I was talking about communication skills, always remember the basic of the communication skill is to get, or when we say effective strategies of communication, we mean that we are able to elicit the desired response from the people with whom we are communicating, right? And that is what we term as effective communication strategies. So, why is email etiquette so much important? I just want to share that with you through this YouTube video, which I have searched for you all. I thought that this is going to be a very, very effective way of telling you that why is email etiquette important, right? So, are you all ready to go have a look at this? So I think now we all are on the same platform in the sense that we do understand that yes, this is very important for us to understand how to write an effective email, and we can get our things done if we are going to write it in a proper manner, right? So let us have a look at this. students, I hope that you all find this YouTube video interesting, right? And we'll constantly be discussing these points again and again, right? So there were a few very important things that don't write an email when you are not in a good mood, because once you have click on the send email button, you cannot take it back. And always remember, if you are giving something in writing, you should be double sure about that thing before sending, right? So these are few tips that you should always keep in mind. We are going to discuss about this in the coming up slides again. So let us try to understand that how many types of email are there. So there are four types, broadly speaking. One is no reply email, right? So you must have come across a lot of emails which come to you, let's say some general information from your college side which reaches you, and then they just want to share a piece of information with a no reply email, right? So for example, let's say you also receive emails from our side also, that is from MentorBuddy, or from COE, that is Center of Excellence, wherein you are informed about the different coming up webinars, right? But you don't need to respond to that email. Then there's this another kind of email that is called as inquiry email, right? So inquiry email is that the receiver has to respond to this mail. You need something from the receiver in a reply. For example, some advice or some question answer. The reply is your desired outcome, right? So when you write somebody, a mail to somebody and you expect a response back, that is called an inquiry email. Then the third type is open-ended email. Open-ended email are generally shared to keep communication lines open. What do we mean by that? It means that for the purpose of some future result or benefit, you are writing this mail. And then we have action email. Action email where the goal is not the reply, but some action on the part of the receiver, right? For example, you are asking for a website link exchange, or if there is a sales pitch, right? That is called as an action email, where you expect the other person to take some action after reading your mail, right? So these are generally four types of mail. One, when you send an email and you don't expect a reply back. Two, inquiry email, when you write an email and you expect a desired response. Third, open-ended email, when you want to keep communication lines open. And fourth, action email, where the goal is not the reply, but some action on the part of the receiver. So these are generally the four types of email. Any questions so far? So now from here onwards, we are going to understand that what are the basic email etiquette which you should follow. How can you become a professional email writer? So these are certain tips. So, you can always keep these tips in mind, that whenever you are writing an email, there should be no spelling errors and no grammatical errors. It should be clear, should be properly planned. You always should write an email with a professional approach. Always proofread before sending, right? And as we all know that an email contains a subject line, so you should be cautious about what is the email subject line and how you are going to write it, and be respectful and polite, right? So these are certain points which you should keep in mind. Let us try to understand more. So here onwards, I want everybody to take a vouch that whenever you are sending an email, you are only going to send relevant information to relevant people. You're not going to change, or you're not going to send just reply all or send a junk mail to everybody. Whenever you are sending an email, always explore what is the content that you are sending to others, right? You should be clear about what is the information that you're sharing with them. Always reply to your mails at the earliest, right? So remember, your email inbox is not a cemetery where you are going to just bury the issues. You should reply to all the emails within 48 hours only, right? Make it right now, as you all are in your student life, that doesn't matter a much but once you will be joining a professional world, it is highly required that whenever you have to reply to an email, ideally it should be within 48 hours or at the earliest, right? Shoot off mails to all only if it is relevant to everyone. I've seen, many students or many professionals, whenever they receive a mail, right? Suppose a senior of you who has written that same mail to 10 colleagues, where or to 10 of his juniors, where he's asking for some information, and everybody who is sending or sharing that information in response to that mail is just sending it to all, which is of no use, right? So please be very cautious about which option you are making use of while you are reverting to that mail. So reply all is generally used only if it is relevant to everybody who is in the to list. When you forward the mails, don't forward jokes, don't forward very large attachments. Remember, you are doing it as a professional communication, right? So don't try to clog up somebody else's mail system and mailboxes. Don't write unnecessary so much of mails or so big attachments that people will start ignoring your mails, right? Whenever you are forwarding, right, or whenever you are sending a mail, always check for confidential information. Remember, email is something which is not meant for sending confidential information, right? So then be rest assured that whatever you are sharing on email has all the potential to get lost or to get viral, or somebody might get up that information, right? So please don't mention any information that is very confidential on your email. That is not expected and that is not required also. Then whenever I have seen a lot of people, they are supposed to send an attachment about which they mention in the email also, but then they forget to attach it with the email, the actual the document that they are supposed to. So attach that document before filling in the to field. Ensure that whenever you have to attach something in the email, before completing your email or before writing the email address of the person to whom you are sending that email, please attach that in the mail. Otherwise you will be generally finding this error of yours also, that you have sent the mail without the attachment, right? So please, in order to avoid this problem, you can always do like this. Mark your mail only to relevant people, those who need to take any action on the mail, right? Don't unnecessarily forward it, or don't unnecessarily press on reply all, or don't send a cc to everybody without any reference also. Those who are not directly related with your work should not receive a copy of the mail that you are sending, right? Mark CC. What? Okay, I just have a question here. I'll just take a pause and I will ask few questions now. So you must have seen that in whenever you write an email, there is a column called CC. There's column 2, then CC, and then BCC. I want everybody to respond to me telling me what is the full form of CC and what is the full form of BCC. I want answer to this. CC is carbon copy. Very good. Abhishek, sorry I missed your question earlier. Abhishek, please keep this question towards it for the end of the class. I'll again come back to the slide and explain, right? Okay, CC is carbon copy. And what is BCC? BCC is blind carbon copy. Very good, all of you. Very nice. Thank you so much for responding. All of you have got it right. Very good. All right. So CC is meant for those people whom you want to keep in the communication loop or the information loop. Suppose I am writing, or you are writing an email to me and I'm sending you a response for the same. So I will keep mentor buddy in CC, so that they should also know what is the communication that is happening between you and me. They are not directly related with it, but they should always be in the communication loop to have the information about the same, right? So as you see over here, it is written, no, I'm inviting your subordinate for a training program, right? So CC is marked to somebody who is expected to have the the particular information. Clear? Now BCC, this is a sneaky bit of mail, right? So please avoid BCC in official mails. However, if you think that you want to share this information with somebody, right, so then you can mention that email in BCC. Suppose you are sending an email to me, so you can keep mentor buddy in BCC, right? So I will not be able to see that you have already shared or you have already kept mentor buddy in the communication loop. So when you don't want anyone to know an email ID with whom you are sharing the information, you should mention that in BCC, that is a blind carbon copy. Clear? Now, let's move on to these things. Now we'll start with the email body. Now, a very important part of the body of an email is the subject line. A subject line has to be very, very clear. Suppose even if you are forwarding a message, please check to it whether you want to keep the word forward in your subject line or not, because the person who's going to receive the mail will be able to analyze the importance and urgency of your email with the help of that subject line only. Okay. The content, always make use of spell checker and reread to avoid embarrassing mistakes. I have just now, shown a video to you for this, that once you have sent an email, you will not be able to change it or correct it. So before sending an email, please double check that you have done everything in the finest manner and there's absolutely no mistake related with it, right? For example, here you can see, sorry for late reply, I'll immediately check all the mails you sent me in detail. Now, are we referring to these mails or we are referring to MAILS mails, right? So, these kind of errors need to be avoided, and you can avoid these errors only by proofreading. Sign off. Please standardize your signature with name and contact details, right? So as you can see over here, so how you can sign off is something which is very important, right? So your salutation, that is how you start an email. Your sign off, that is how you end that email. The subject line, whom you are keeping in CC and BCC, everything plays an important role here, right? So I just want to show you all certain email etiquette which I think is going to be very, very helpful for you, and you can always keep this handy.
Post and tweet with the best of them. However, professional emails are a whole ballgame. It's critical that you present yourself well via email. Often, email is someone's first impression of you. The first thing you'll need is an appropriate email address. You might have a witty Instagram or Snapchat handle, but your email address is where you want to be taken seriously. And not wind up in someone's view. Most of you have a school email address you can use for professional emails, or just create a new one using your first and last name. Since school emails disappear once you graduate from high school or college, it might be a great idea to just start a professional one now. Changing your email address after you've already subscribed to newsletters or online publications is a huge pain. Now that you have a super snappy professional email address, let's talk about actually sending those emails. Always start with a formal salutation. All professional correspondence should include a standard greeting. Address the recipient by their title. If you're not sure of gender, just use the person's name. We're off to a solid start. Next, lead with a clear subject line. If you remember anything from this video, let it be this. Do not leave this space empty. A concise, specific subject line helps your reader know what to expect. Subject lines also help your recipient find your email later if they're searching by keywords. Be clear and polite in your email, finding the balance between something that makes sense to the reader, but also doesn't take them too long to read. Once you've written the email, go through and check for the following. Have you written a complete and coherent sentence? Emails are not a great place to use slang or shorthand. Write it all out. Are there any spelling errors? Lastly, make sure no part of the email is written in all caps. It reads like you're screaming. If you need to emphasize a sentence, try bolding or highlighting instead. One other thing to avoid would be fancy fonts or extreme color choices. This often causes eye strain for your reader if you don't want to put your email recipient in pain. Stick to the default font and color choices. Before hitting send, sign off with a quick thank you. It's common courtesy to thank someone for his or her time and help. End your email with a thank you and your name. A few final thoughts. Remember, emails are forever. You cannot take back what gets sent. Make sure your tone of voice is polite so that you don't unintentionally offend your recipient. A great way to check for this is to read your email out loud before sending. Patience is a virtue. We all like instant gratification, but people are busy and sometimes a reply takes more time than you hope. Email was never intended as a chat service. Try to give your recipient a minimum of 24 hours to respond. And then remember, if you expect that of others, you should do the same. It's great to build these habits now when emailing teachers or other adults at school so that they become second nature by the time you're emailing professors or future employers, people who could really make or break your professional life. Try it today. Think of someone who's really had your back lately and send them an email to thank them. Follow the outline of this video and you're sure to be set up for success.
I just want all of you to make a note of all these lines. Right. So students, I would appreciate if you people can just make a note of all these lines and keep it handy for you as a reference, right? First of all, it is very important to write an appropriate email address, right? And I would like to tell you and emphasize one very important point here. Please maintain a professional email ID, right? When I say professional, please don't make email IDs like the laughing boy or the heartbreaking girl or the dream girl or the handsome hunk or rising stars. Now these kind of email IDs are generally not giving a very good impression as far as professional word is concerned. You can keep this for your informal email, sharing it with your friends and all, but for an official email ID, for example, as you have seen, no, when we want to collect the feedback, the email ID that we have for this is feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com. Right. So this is a professional email ID. If I have to make my professional email ID would be shivani.sharma, something @gmail.com. Now I'm not going to write your mentor the great @gmail.com. Right. Now these kind of things you should always keep in mind. As I was telling you about the subject line, what and how you are going to write in your subject line is also going to have an important relation with this. The body of the email has to be properly checked, verified and proofread it before sending so that the sentences are complete. You should always do spell check. Don't write all caps or all capital letters because it seems as if you are shouting. Avoid that. If you have to highlight some important point, you can make the font bold or you can highlight that or you can underline that, but don't write in capital letters until and unless you are very sure of that. End with a thank you or proper regards and wait for at least 24 hours for a response. This goes same for you, that if you have received an official email, you should respond to that email within 24 to 48 hours, right? Not more than that is generally the response time which is expected from you. Am I clear on this? Any questions here? Any questions, students? I hope that you all are enjoying the class. You're learning a lot of new things today in the class, isn't it? Are you all enjoying the session? Subject line. Okay, subject line I'll tell you again, right? So in most slides we'll be discussing about it again in the coming up slides. All right. Now look at this, right? So these are the basically different parts of an email. As you can see here. So first of all, we'll try to understand this, the two part of the email, right? So in this line, this is the address of the person who will be receiving the message, as simple as that, right? Of course, if you're not going to type it properly, the mail will be bounced and it will be returned to you. Now, second very important thing over here, what you can see is attachments. I have talked about this. Ensure that if your mail is having an attachment, you should always attach the content before writing the email address here, right? So that there is no scope of you forgetting or missing on the attachment, right? So now the question arises, what are attachments? So attachments are basically files that you add to your email. Suppose you want to apply for a job. So in your email, you will write your cover letter, and in the attachment of that email you will be forwarding your CV or your resume to the concerning HR manager or the organization, right? Now coming to the subject line. Now if you look at this subject line, it tells you in a nutshell what the message is all about. So here you see subject line, absent from computer class, right? So now this part of the mail should in 4 to 5 words tell you that what is the exact body of the email talking about, right? Because when you'll open your inbox, what you see is the name of the person from whom you got that email, or that email salutation, the email reference, and the subject line. So when you look at the subject line, you get the impression how urgent, how important, or what the email is all about. Accordingly, you take a decision regarding the urgency of the response or urgency of replying to that email. Now, if you look at this white part, this white box is called as the message box. Now, this is the place where you write your mail or your letter. It can be as long as you like, but always remember the golden rule of communication: be precise and to the point. If you're going to write about too many points in only just single mail, right, your reader of the mail is bound to miss on any of the important points, right? So always remember that either if there are many points, you should write in bullets or 1 2 3 4, or don't just clutter your email with a lot of information that the person might sorry, that the person might just not able to comprehend the entire thing, right? So these are the certain parts of an email. Now this is how it looks like. This is writing an email. I'll again start with the here. The first one being attachment. We have talked about the importance of this. Can anyone tell me what are the points that we should keep in mind as far as attachments are concerned? Now, I have already introduced a lot of things to you all. I want you all to interact with me now. So, students, what are the points which we should keep in mind as far as the attachments are concerned? Whenever you write an email, what are the points related with attachment? Attachment should be correctly uploaded. Okay, Lavesh. Attachment shouldn't be too large. Absolutely. Very good point, Akhil. Send to only required people. Very good, Saurabh. We should always check if I'm sending correct attachment. Yes, Abhishek, very, very rightly said. I have seen a lot of people doing this mistake. They were supposed to send something else, but they have. And also, attachment shouldn't be large. Avoid emojis and lengthy messages. Very good. File size. We should attach before writing to. Very good. Attach the document before filling. First add Attached file, not too long. Attachment should be related to subject. Very nice. Attach the file before the cover letter so that we don't forget later. Very good. Size of file needs to be checked. And one thing more, try to keep the name of that file with the initials or mentioning about the the subject as well. For example, if I have to upload my resume, I can title the document with resume of Shivani Sharma, right? Or my resume, or my curriculum vitae, or CV of Shivani, like this, right? So that the person is also getting an idea, and at the same time there will be less chances that you are going to upload a wrong attachment to it, right? So don't just name the file as file number 001, file number 002, because you tend to forget what is there in file number 001, right? So these are the very good. I really appreciate that you all are being so participative, and I really like this. Right. So these are the few points about attachment which we have discussed. Now, coming down to the second important aspect, spell check. Can anyone tell me what is the importance of spell check? Why is spell check important? Yes, Abhishek, very good. It should be like this. Anything, with the help of which you can clearly make out what the attachment is all about. Yes, Tushar, spell check is to avoid error. Yes, correct spellings, to avoid grammatical mistakes. So it is very important that before you send your email, you are going to cross check that there should be absolutely no spelling errors or grammatical errors, right? That you're not, because once you have sent that email, you cannot correct it, right? So to avoid embarrassment, to avoid different meanings, you should always make use of spell check. Very good, students, very nice. Now, let us have a look at this. So now we'll come to the main components, that is to. To is meant for person who is actually the receiver of the mail, right? So this mail is intended for this person whose email address you are going to mention in to. CC is for those people whom you want to keep in the information loop, or those people who are going to get some sort of benefit by going to this mail. Right now in BCC, it's also similar to this, but nobody can see this address. Right. Suppose you are sending an email to all the colleagues. Suppose 5 of you are working on a project, right? And you are sending an email to all the colleagues. So you can write the name of your project head, or you can write the email of your project head in BCC, that your colleagues don't come to know about that. This information is also shared with them. Right. So this is also, something which you can do. Suppose 5 of you, your friends, who are working on a similarly, right? So let's say 5 of you are working on a project, and while sharing information with others regarding the timeline, you are keeping your faculty in BCC. So the other students are not getting an idea that the faculty is also having the information that what is the timeline, right? So they cannot just go away with that. And then the subject line, I have talked about this, that in subject line you are going to mention in short what the email is all about. Clear? Now the main part of the email is salutation. What do we mean by salutation? How you're going to address the other person, right? Normally, right now, the international protocol that we all are following is dear, right? Earlier it used to be respected, but now it is dear. Dear is used for everybody. Dear customer, dear vendor, dear parent, dear student, dear Mr. So and so. So it goes like that. The opening sentence is very important, because in the first opening sentence you are going to talk about what is the intention of writing this mail, right? So I'm writing this email to inform you about the next class. So that has to be very clearly stated in the first line of the email, right? Because by reading the first line of the email, the reader is going to decide to continue reading the remaining part of the email or just to ignore that, right? Then moving on to the next, let's say third or fourth line, you are going to write the detailed information in your email. And finally, you are going to close your sentence with a call for action if it is required, or you're just writing an email to have an open communication. Remember, we have discussed about 4 types of email. So whatever your type of email, according to it, you are going to give it a closure, right? So the closing sentence might ask about any kind of action. It might just ask about to be in the and to keep the information themselves, or it might just say, please don't reply back to email, this was just sent for information purpose, or anything. And finally, a formal signature, right? If you don't want to make use of a signature, you can always write your name there, your complete name, and maybe your contact details, right? Ideally, if you are using an official email ID, you can maintain, or you can just prepare a signature on Gmail. It is very handy. You can easily prepare a signature of yours. Now let us talk about some important points, but before that, I just want to take up any queries if you people have over here. Any queries, students? Any queries so far from the email portion, the body of the email that we have just now discussed, the technicalities? Any questions? Abhishek, you will write dear ma'am or dear madam. Yes, you can include the greetings, Lavish. There's no point that you should not, right? So generally how I write a formal email, I always write dear ma'am or sir, greetings for the day, right? Yeah, greetings with an exclamation mark, right? Akhil, nobody is saying that you should avoid BCC, but if you are writing a professional mail, why do you want to hide it from somebody? That is the only thing, right? Yes, Tushar, this is type of letter writing only. So you are going to follow all the do's and don'ts of letter writing here also. But do not, make the body of the email very lengthy, because nobody likes to read a lengthy email. Uh, Riddhi, there is an option in Gmail about how to create a signature, right? So you can easily find it on Gmail. So the Gmail, if you'll go to your Gmail settings, there is an option of creating a signature there. You can always create it from there. Shubham, in BCC, we have to mention an email ID only, right? So suppose, as I told you, suppose you are working on a project with your friends, okay? And there are 5 friends who are involved in this. So you are sending a timeline that Mr. A, you are supposed to complete this work by tomorrow. Mr. B will complete by tomorrow evening. Mr. C will complete by day after tomorrow. Right. And you want your teacher also to know that being a leader of the team, you are working on these timelines. So you can maintain or you can mention the email ID of your teacher in BCC. Right. Okay. Okay, so Tanishka, suppose you have all those students who have sent an email to me and they have mentioned or they have attached their resume for verification or for correction. So what do you think is the appropriate subject line for this mail? Resume of Tanishka, right? Yeah, resume of Tanishka for correction. Right, Tanishka? Or suppose you have not received your certificate for the last webinar. You can write not received last webinar certificate. Now this subject line is clearly indicating what the email is all about. Okay, Tanishka? So the subject of the email should be very specific and very precise. All right. So now let us focus on few other points which will act as, again, a revision of all that we have done so far. So whenever you have to send an email, as we have discussed at the start of the class also, avoid sending any confidential, sensitive or personal information. Why? Because the email that you are going to send is not a confidential thing. Anybody can take the printout, anybody can use that information against you, and once you have sent it on email, that means it's public now. Sorry. Always write a subject line that is informative, direct, and states the main issue in the email. I think we have a lot of discussion on that. I have also given an example. Suppose I want to send this PPT to anybody in the class, right? Or I want to send this PPT to mentor buddy, telling that this is what we are going to do in the class today. So what will I write? PPT of 10th session. Yeah, PPT of session 10, right? Yeah, PPT on email etiquette, session 10. Right. So that subject line itself is clearly stating what the email body is all about. Always open your email with a greeting, right? So I think that answers some one of the student has asked me this. So always open your email with a greeting. So you can always write good morning. If it's an official email and you are sending it just at the start of the day, you can always write good morning. Otherwise, ideally, you should write greetings for the day for any point of time. For formal or business emails, use the surname and not the first name. Ensure that, see, until unless you are aware about the work culture of an organization, don't make use of the first name. Making use of the surname is always beneficial for making use of formal or business emails. You should also, for example, suppose you have to send me an email. How will you write that? Dear Mrs. Sharma, right? You are not going to write dear Mrs. Shivani, right? That is until unless that is the protocol that your organization follows. Or you can always write dear sir or dear madam. If you're not sure that whether the person is a ma'am or sir, you can always write dear madam oblique sir, right? So if you're contacting, and suppose you're contacting a company and not an individual, you're not sure about, then you can always write, although I don't really approve of this, so don't follow this. To whom it may concern doesn't sound good, right? So ideally you can always write dear sir or ma'am when you're not sure about who's the person. Or if you know the designation, you can also write like that, dear HR manager, right? Or dear manager. So you can write like this also, right? So to whom it may concern doesn't sound very good actually. Begin with a line of thanks, right? So if you have earlier also communicated, so you can always write, so I really appreciate your interest in my sessions, or I would like to thank you for reaching out to us for clarifying this. This is how generally you can start. This will put them at ease and it will make you appear more courteous, and it goes more when you are communicating with your client, somebody who's going to bring business for you, right? So when you are interacting with your client, try to start with a line of thanks. Find out a reason to thank your customer for anything. State your purpose in the opening sentence. We have just now discussed about this, that the starting of the email has to be very effective and appealing, and that is going to determine whether the person will read the coming lines or not, right? For example, as you see over here, I'm writing to inquire about, or I'm writing in reference to the email that you have sent to me dated this, right? So your purpose of writing or sending that email has to be very explicitly stated at the start of the email. Be brief but polite. Now, being brief does not mean that you're not going to follow the basic manners and etiquette. Tell them exactly what you want in as short an email as possible, right? And if you think that you cannot, make your email concise, or you need to write in at least 2 or 3 short paragraphs, then try to reduce the message, or you can always provide an attachment, right? Don't clutter the body of the email by writing too many or too long message. Remember to say please and thank you and mean it. Students, these 3 words, I have talked about this in earlier classes also. These words are called as golden words in terms of business communication. These are please, sorry, and thank you. Some call it as magical words also, right? So be generous to make use of all these magical words. Please, sorry, and thank you. If you write about multiple things with multiple requests, remember I've told you about this. Do not write too many things in one mail. Suppose you're writing about too many things in a single mail, your email won't be read or acted on, or the receiver will only do one of those things, right? So it is going, see, it can be a human error, right? Suppose you're writing 5 things in the single mail. So it's not possible that all your 5 things will get done. Instead of that, you can write 2 things in one mail, get it done. Then again write 2 things, right? So don't write too much of information in one email. Stick to one subject with one request. Once that is done, then you can send a second one, right? So whatever you request you are stating in the email, you should clearly state that in the subject line. Allow other person to do that, and then only write a second one. Now, these are all those points which we have just now discussed. Don't make use of jokes or emotions or emoticons, right? Remember, you have seen the first video where it was showing that whenever you're not in a good mood or you are angry or agitated, don't write an email. Because when you are emotionally charged, your email, the words that you are going to mention in your email will generally reflect your emotion. So don't, or avoid writing any business communication, letter, email, project, report, memo, notice, anything when you are emotionally very charged, either positively or negatively. Don't make use of abbreviations or acronyms, right? This is not allowed for any business communication. You're not allowed to use words like please or roflol, right? Or WT, or anything like this. These are good enough for WhatsApp messaging, but not in business communication. Avoid exclamation points, ellipses, question marks, bold, italics, underline, or multicolor font. Anything that makes your email look very aggressive, very loud, don't make use of that, right? Maintain official fonts, ideally Times New Roman. The average font size, that is 12, right? Maintain the brevity. We have already talked about all these things in written communication skills, right? If it is considered very rude to use capital letters like this because it means that you are shouting, please focus on this. Don't make use of statements and words like this. It is considered that as if you are shouting, so don't use like this. Courtesy is always important, right? So no matter how short the email is, but before you end your email, you will always write any statement like this where you are thanking your reader. Thank you for your patience and cooperation. Thank you for your consideration. Anything of this sort has to be there, right? And it includes an accurate follow-up statement. What do you expect from your reader to do, right? That is very, very important, right? So finally, I'm going to end my session with this video, which is important for you. We have already talked about all these things. So this final video will act as a kind of a review, right? Where you will just be revising whatever points we have discussed. So let's have a look.
Formatting, including parts of the email, what to capitalize, where to leave spaces and empty lines, and how to do the optional signature block at the end. Here's an example of an email that's formatted correctly. Let's look at the parts of this email. First, we have the subject. The subject is like a short title that tells your reader what your email is about. Then we have the salutation, where you're saying hello to your recipient. In the body of the email, you write your message. Then you have your closing, where you sort of say goodbye. You have your electronic signature, which is your first and last name. And then at the bottom, sometimes there is an optional signature block. You don't need a signature block, but many people use them, and you might also want to have one. Let's now talk about what to capitalize in your First, let's talk about what to capitalize in your subject. We capitalize subjects like we capitalize a book title. But when we capitalize in book titles, we capitalize the first word, the last word, and important words. How do we know if a word in a title or an email subject line is important? Nouns, verbs, adjectives, and many hundreds of other words that can be people. Places. 3 examples are school, city, and library. Things like book, homework, idea. Actions like run, ask, need, or help. Adjectives like sick, easy, great. And adverbs like not, very, and always. What about words that are not important and should not be capitalized? These include articles, conjunctions, and prepositions that are 3 letters or shorter, like these: and, but, by, or, if, out, of, off, so on, and. These are examples that are used often, but of course there are many other words that are not important in titles and should not be capitalized. Now we've talked about what to capitalize in the subject. What about the salutation? In a salutation, capitalize the first word plus all nouns. Email salutations. Here we have Dear Hiring Manager, Dear Professor Smith, Dear Board of Directors, Dear Mom and Dad, and Dear Sophia. There are 2 types of email salutations. The first 3 examples that we see here are formal salutations. At the end of a formal salutation, the punctuation used is called a colon, or the 2 dots that you see at the end of our first examples. You need to use a formal email salutation when you're writing emails like job applications, emails to leaders in your company, school, or community, and emails to other people in your position. The other type of email salutation is informal salutation, like the last 2 that you see here. At the end of an informal salutation, the punctuation used is a comma. Informal salutations are used when you write to friends and family, people you see daily or often, and sometimes to teachers or professors. It depends on the culture and the relationship you have with the person, just as any email salutation does. So we've covered what to capitalize in the email subject and salutation. Now let's talk about the closing. In the closing, you capitalize only the first word. The second word in a closing should not be capitalized. Here's some examples of other email closings that are formal and professional and will work in almost any situation. Best regards, sincerely. Thank you, best, yours truly, and respectfully. Now we've reviewed capitalization. Let's look at where we need to leave empty lines and spaces in your emails. First, leave an empty line after your salutation. Always leave empty lines between paragraphs. Leave one empty line before your closing and one empty line after your closing. Notice you do not need an empty line or a comma after your electronic signature. Now let's talk about the optional signature block. The signature block contains contact information about the sender as well as information like the sender's website, YouTube channel, or other professional contact information. Here's example 1: name, email, website, YouTube channel. Here's example 2: you have the person's name, phone number, position or job. Notice after the job, you have the company, and between those 2, a comma. Finally, after that, you have his mailing address at the bottom. Here we have example 3 that's very similar to example 2, except that the company name and the job or position appear on 2 different lines, so we don't need to separate them with a comma. Here we have example 4, a signature block of a university student, where you have the person's name, phone number, position, which is student, and his university. So now we've concluded our video on how to format an email. I hope this video helped. Thanks a lot for watching.
So I hope this was useful for all. So this brings us to the end of the class, right? I'm not taking up this video. I'm so sorry. So finally, the ritual. So whatever queries you have, you can write to me on feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com. I would appreciate if you people can share your feedback of today's session also on this email ID. You can connect with me on this. Now, for the email, assignment for the class today is that you have to write an email to me, considering me as a hiring manager, right? You have to write an email to me for any job role. So it can be executive management trainee, sorry, executive technical trainee, right? So the assignment for the class is all of you have to send me an email on feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com, and this email has to be your covering letter for applying for the job of technical trainee. Okay, I will be assessing that email. I will be evaluating it and will be sending you your reply after correcting it. Right? For any kind of details related with MentorBuddy, you can write support@mentorbuddy.com. You can visit our website mentorbuddy.com and get a lot of tests that are available free of cost for you. A lot of training material is available so that you can prepare yourself. And if you want to register for our upcoming webinars, you can do that through centerofexcellence.com. Let me just show you how it works. Right. So what you have to do is you have to just type www dot center of excellence center of right. You just have to go to centerofexcellence.com. Just a moment. Right. So the moment you'll go to Center of Excellence website, you have to log in with your registered email address and password. Password is your registered mobile number with your college. Right. Let me just show that to you, how to reach to Center of Excellence. Just give me some time. I think it's CENTER. Right. So you have to go to Center of Excellence and there you can. I'm so sorry. Right. So by the time I open that, I would appreciate if you people can just share your queries with me. Yes, students, please share your queries, whatever questions you have. Meanwhile, I'll just show you Center of Excellence, the COE website of ours through which you can register yourself. Right. So here is the website. Right. So you just need to type in Center of Excellence. Right. So center of with the hyphen excellence.com. And here you have to go to student login. In student login, you have to enter your email, right? And your password. Right. As soon as you will enter your email and password, it will take you to the dashboard. And here you see on the dashboard, right? Online assessments are there through which you can just, have a look at the different assessments that are available. Then there are campus recruitment preparation also that you can see, right? This is also connected with MentorBuddy. So these are the aptitude test preparation, the learning resources which are available, quantitative, reasoning, verbal, right? Then we also have Industry Connect here. So in Industry Connect, if you'll go, you will find the webinars that are scheduled for you, right? As you can see, my webinars also, and you can also see, webinars on data science, cyber security, right? And a lot of webinars like this are scheduled for you. Can you all see that? Right? So you can register for any of these webinars by simply, booking your seat for the same. As soon as you will book your seat in this webinar, you will be receiving an email on your registered email ID as a confirmation, right? And then you can, join the webinar. Post the webinar, you will also receive the attendance e-certificate for the same, right? I would appreciate if all of you can upload all your webinar certificates on LinkedIn and share that with me, right? Share that with us, tag us on Quantum Learning, And all those who have not shared their email so far, this is the last opportunity for you. I'm planning to have a Zoom session for mock test preparation this Monday evening. Right? So is that fine with you all? Can we keep it on Monday? I'm planning to do it on Monday, 7:30 to 8:30. Will that work for all of you? It's going to be a live Zoom session where we will have mock interview practice, and only those students who have shared their resume with me on feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com will be allowed to attend that. We'll be sharing the invites with those students only. Right? It's going to be a live session where we will practice questions and answers. Right? So that brings us to the end of the session. Any questions so far? Abhishek, if you have already shared your resume, good. If you have not, you can share your, or you can, always attach your resume in your email, right? Okay. So I'll just share the website link. It's CENTRE, Center of Excellence.com, right? All of you have to share your resume on feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com. I've already shared that with you earlier as well. Let me just show that to you once again. So all of you can see here, feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com. Those students who have shared their resume with me on this email ID will be allowed to attend the live session. Right? And please do register for our upcoming webinars on centerofexcellence.com. So that brings us to the end of the session. Okay, Damini, please do send us a mail again. I will just check with it, right? Ayush, I hope you have got the response. Yashwant, you can add your resume as a body of email. So for today's class assignment also, you have to send an official email to me on feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com. Okay. So that's it for the class. Thank you so much, students, for joining us. I hope all of you have enjoyed the session as much as I have, right? I'm looking forward to have your feedback. Thank you so much. See you all again on Sunday. And we are planning to keep the live session on Monday, 7:30 to 8:30, right? Thank you. Good night and take care. Damini, send your email with resume on feedback.mentorbuddy@gmail.com. Ayush, you have to write an email to me as as a prospective employee to a company, right? And in the email attachment, you have to attach your resume, right? Okay, thank you so much, everybody. Good night and take care.